What's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon Go Battle League content. Today's video, we're taking a look at the team that took me to Veteran here in the Master Premier Cup, running the same team, or at least the same core as we ran last season with Skeledirge and Primarina, and instead of running Gyarados on the safe swap, we're now running Goodra with that new Thunder Punch, allowing it to have extremely strong coverage on the Master League meta. But Skeledirge, the chef himself, absolutely just destroying teams. Let's get into the battles right now, because this team cooks just like the chef himself. And into the first game, we have a awkward lead with Hisuian Avalugg. Now, the thing with this lead here is that I would expect them to go for a move before I get to my first move, but they overfarm by a lot here and throw on kind of optimal timing, but not really. So I'm going to shield up here. I'm expecting them, typically in my experience, the Avalugg players go for the Rock Slide and then start baiting with the Icy Wind. So I tend to shield the first move. And then I'm going to go for an Disarming Voice now that they've taken that. And I'm figuring at this point, they're probably weak in the back. I'm expecting them to have the Annihilape in the back. So I'm going to go ahead and double shield, and the opponent now brings in a Goodra. I'm going to max out on energy. And here's the thing about the Goodra mirror. Unless the opponent is running, Draco Meteor, you really don't need to do much more than just get yourself some sort of an HP lead, and then you could probably just farm the Goodra down all the way, if the HP lead is big enough. Otherwise, you can just, trade your resisted charge moves. You can see, Aqua Tail and Thunder Punch do almost nothing to the opponent's Goodra, and they wouldn't do much to mine. So I'm going to go ahead and just let them throw their moves here. I figure if they got Draco Meteor, they would have not thrown Aqua Tail. Typically, they'll run Thunder Punch and Draco Meteor if they have it. The opponent's going to come back in with the Avalugg. They do have some extra energy here. I'm going to go ahead and fire out this Aqua Tail, and I probably should have gone straight for the other Aqua Tail. Didn't really notice at the time that I had it in the heat of the moment, but can come in with Skeledirge now and farm down, but the opponent has a Gyarados in the back, and that is exactly why I'm running Primarina, is because between Gyarados and Goodra, I feel like those two Pokemon are so common in this meta, and Primarina actually cores very, very well with Skeledirge by dealing with most of the things that it is weak to, those being the dragons, Gyarados, most things, right? Like, obviously, there are going to be some awkward ones, but for the most part, we do pretty good here. We're going to go for the Hydro Pump because we have the energy for it, and why not? Locking the Hydro Pump in, taking out the Avalugg, and that's going to be a good game. Now, this entire... I played these games on stream, and we bounced back and forth between a couple of teams. So after this first few games, because I got a couple of these losses here, I actually took a break from this team and then came back to it later and hit Veteran. So we're taking a look at the first few battles here with the team while I was kind of getting an idea for this Master League meta. And I'm starting to see a lot more Metagross. I know that Donkus did a video on his Shadow Metagross because he's true. It's just true though. Most of the meta is Dragon and Fairy. So it turns out that Metagross does very well, and there's a lot of people running Excadrill and Metagross now. And I wasn't expecting that right off the bat, to be honest, but the opponent's Metagross can overfarm here by a lot, and because I'm already down a shield, Skeledirge is not looking super great here. I was considering pivoting back into Skeledirge to try and catch the Meteor Mash, but I wasn't really sure when they were going to throw, and I'm going to have to shield up the Earthquake here in order to not, I'm at full HP, so I'm kind of like, let's see how much an Earthquake does for science. Earthquake does a ton of damage. But the opponent had a counter Haxorus, so I was thinking if they come back in with the Haxorus, at least I know that I'm going to be able to get another Incinerate through or so. But then they come in with the Snorlax, and I'm hoping that maybe what they have in the back, maybe Primarina can do okay. Maybe they had Gyarados if I was lucky, but they have a Snorlax, and unfortunately, just the absolute bulk of the Snorlax here, it's going to be able to allow it to go through my Primarina without me really being able to do much. Now, if I had two shields, I think I could have probably charmed through this thing, and then maybe had a better shot to deal with the Haxorus, but unfortunately, down a shield, we're not going to be able to do anything here. That's a good game. All right, we're getting Skeledirge off in the lead in the next game into a Hisuian Typhlosion, and I'm like, oh, what in the actual spicy hell is this? So I say swap into my Goodra, and I know that this thing has the ability to throw Shadow Ball, and it has Thunder Punch, so it's really a good, like, this is just That is a core breaker. That is the definition of a core breaker. It completely eviscerates 2/3 of my team because Primarina not doing much with Charm against that fire typing, plus Skeledirge, it resists all the damage aside from Shadow Ball, and I mean, honestly, the pacing is not going to be in my favor there. They could just bait me with Fire Punch and then I would feel really bad. But we're going to go just let Goodra do its thing. You know, Goodra's got that Aqua Tail Thunder Punch. I would not be upset if you decided to use Dragon or Draco Meteor Goodra on this team. I think Draco Meteor Goodra is vastly under-respected, and I do think that you could get a lot of like really cheeky good little wins just going for it. Now, my thought here is not to win Switch because what's it going to do me, right? Primarina's still not going to do super well into the Hisuian Typhlosion. So I'm going to go ahead and get the energy here on my Skeledirge, but the opponent here is just, they have so much energy already. Their timing is they're very good with the timing here. 3 hexes into my Incinerates. Now, thankfully, they're just launching straight Shadow Balls. With the amount of energy lead that they have, I would like to think that, you know, that's what they should be doing, right? Like, that would make sense to me. Now, going for 3, you know, that's going to give them the maximum amount of energy for the timing of the moves. So they're going to go straight for another Shadow Ball here. And I'm thinking if I go for Disarming Voice now, maybe I'll get the other shield. Maybe I'll be able to make it, but I think I'm pretty sure that there's no way here, as they're going to be able to get to another move. And this is not a Fire Punch. This is a Shadow Ball. It is 5-5-4 to the Shadow Balls. They're going to take me out. Never mind, they have Wild Charge, and I save the energy, but is swapping my Primarina, hoping I'm going to have a good chance here. And it's a Metagross in the back, and I know it's over. So, I mean, good game. There's literally nothing I could have done there. We get an extra drill in the next game. I believe this is the second, you know, me coming back to the team a second time. The opponent goes for 1 Mud Shot and then safe swaps into a Gyarados, and in comes the Primarina to do its job. Primarina here can charm down the entire Gyarados here without having to spend a shield. It doesn't matter what the moveset of the Gyarados is here, but on Dragon Breath. If it had Waterfall, the pacing is much worse on the charge moves, so there's a chance that I might need to shield it, but I haven't played enough of the Waterfall Gyarados. Safe swap, but I'm just going to Hail Mary, go for the Hydro Pump here, regardless of whether I get a shield. I was hoping they might not respect it, but they definitely do, but they're going to be able to farm down my entire Primarina here. Now, the problem is that they are going to get the shield back here twofold. I will shield both of these moves if they throw them. I wanted to put my Goodra in here, but you know, and in hindsight, it would have been fine to do so, but now they're going to safe swap into a Florges, or not safe swap. They're gonna pivot into their Florges here, and like I think that it would have been better for them to just ride it out with the Excadrill here, because the thing is, and I know they're not going to know this until I bring in my Goodra, but like Goodra can now just go for an Aqua Tail. The opponent has absolutely no hope here of landing a knockout move, right? Because the Moonblast only does like 30% or so. It's really not going to do that much damage. So I can safely go for even a full farm down here and force the opponent to really, you know, consider what they're going to do here. I'm going to go for the Shadow Ball. We're going to get a Charge Attack Priority Tie, and I know that if I shield this, I can get to one Aqua Tail on my Goodra, no problem. I have enough HP. I think maybe I can live one more set of Mud Shots, but unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get there. I come in with my Goodra. We just need to get to the Aqua Tail. And also, if you're the Excadrill, throw Drill Run. It does more damage than Rock Slide when both are neutral. So that's the Drill Run right there. It would have been better to throw the Drill Run into my Skeledirge, but I think there's a chance that maybe they were trying to like throw the Drill Run or Rock Slide in case I try to catch on something. But either way, we took the win here. Good game. We get into the next game here. Skeledirge versus Annihilape. This entire team was originally created with a Gyarados in the back in order to hunt Annihilape because everybody and their mother was using it. The nice thing here is that we get to the first move before they get to their Shadow Ball, which means that if they throw before the Shadow Ball, or before you get to your Shadow Ball, they are not going to be able to get to theirs. So I am always expecting them to bait here. So for once, I finally call it. We get it right. If that was a Shadow Ball, I would have been in shambles. Absolute shambles. I don't know what they're going to have in the back here, but I imagine it's probably weak to Skeledirge. Otherwise, they would have swapped out by now. The opponent tries to catch the Shadow Ball in their Snorlax, but thankfully, I went for the Disarming Voice bait. So now I'm going to be able to pivot into my Goodra. I'm going to save both Primarina and Skeledirge for the Annihilape and just hope that, you know, this is where I want Goodra, right? I want it to deal with the thing that is fairly much a pain in the butt for my other two Pokemon to handle. Primarina can handle Snorlax, but not from like full HP in a straight up matchup. So I'm very happy that they safe swapped this. I'm expecting maybe for them to have like Hisuian Avalugg, or some other thing, maybe a steel type in the back, you know, some sort of thing that, you know, maybe does well to cover most of the answers to Annihilape, maybe something like Magnezone or Metagross as well. But that would explain why they didn't swap out right away. But instead, they're going to come in with the Annihilape, and I'm going to bring in my Charm Primarina here. We're going to go to work. Now, I don't know how much energy they had off the bat, but I think okay, they had a Shadow Ball. We call it. That's okay. I'm saving my shield for Skeledirge because I feel like that's probably the right call here. We'll see what the opponent brings in, and then we'll get to see why they were not swapping out at all before. Because it's a Sylveon in the back, we're going to be able to get to this Disarming Voice. We're going to do some decent chip damage, and that's exactly why they decided not to come in or swap out with the Annihilape, because they knew that they would have a bad time. And they had to get rid of that Skeledirge. Now, here's the thing. Skeledirge going to destroy the Charmers. I'm going to shield up, and I could just farm down here. I don't really have any reason to throw charge moves here until I get 2, because they have a shield. The opponent decides that they're just going to go ahead and try and catch a move or something, and it doesn't really work out for them, and they go down. Good game. More important to get your sneaky Charmer out of here, says the guy running a Charmer. Skeledirge into Chestnut in a fantastic lead. The opponent has a Tyranitar on the safe swap, Shadow Tyranitar, and this is very, very dangerous because I should have come in with my Primarina here probably, but genuinely I wasn't really thinking about the dark typing. I was thinking about the rock typing and the fact that I don't have Waterfall on my Primarina. So I'm going to bring in my Goodra because the Aqua Tails have good pacing, and I believe it's 5 straight to Brutal Swing, if not 6-5, something like that. So since I was able to get in fairly quickly here, I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to outpace the Tyranitar. As they've decided to put 2 shields up, I will as well, because that tells me that they have something in the back that is going to be able to beat my Skeledirge. I don't want to have a chance of it being aligned to my Skeledirge. So we're going to go for the Aqua Tail here, take out the Tyranitar safe switch here, and the opponent has a Golden Go in the back, which is definitely not something that is very comfortable into Skeledirge, at least not even shields, even energy. Now, they're getting a huge farm down here, so I'm going to pivot into my Primarina to try and prevent them from getting that farm. You know, they're not going to be able to comfortably bring in this Chestnut here, but they do get a move off here, which is going to suck, because they're going to go straight for this Frenzy Plant, and that's going to knock me out here. That's going to take out Primarina. I have a low health Goodra, and I have a Skeledirge. Skeledirge needs to farm down here, and I have to try and find out who wins charge attack priority, because my switch timer's not going to be up in time for me to swap out to try and catch this charge move, and the opponent just goes for superpower to try and limit the farm. But truthfully, this comes down to charge attack priority, and unfortunately, the Golden Go does win. It's got a much higher CP, and they're going to be able to Shadow Ball me. And unfortunately, victory is not to be had here, as they're even going to be able to get to another charge move before I'm able to get to the Aqua Tail. That's going to take out Goodra, and unfortunately, we're going to take a loss in that game, but we're moving on into the next one. And here we have Skeledirge and Excadrill. Once again, Excadrill's popping out of the woodwork like moles, you wouldn't believe it. Primarina here, safe swap, but the opponent has Charm, and the reason why this is important is because I can't bring in anything here. My best bet here would be like, maybe I'm going to bring in my Primarina here to like farm down afterwards, but I'm not sure what their third Pokemon would be. But the fact that he shielded Primarina twice gives me cause to concern that maybe I just go ahead and bring my Primarina in, because I have a feeling that maybe it's just not going to have much play against whatever's in the back. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to let it happen. We're going to get the energy back on Skeledirge because the opponent's not getting to a charge move. Never mind, I lied. Yes, they are. Yes, I lied. Yes, they're getting to a move, but it's just a Disarming Voice here. It's nothing I need to worry about. The opponent now brings in a Florges, and I'm pretty well off here. Opponent is going to get their Disarming Voice. This is where I'm going to choose to spend my shields. The opponent does try to come in with the Excadrill. That's why I'm just throwing Shadow Balls here. They have no shields. There's no reason for me not to throw the Shadow Ball. We're going to be able to get to another charge move here beforehand, before the opponent's Florges is going to be able to get to a move. They go ahead and catch on the Excadrill. Now all I need to do, save the shield for the Goodra, and make sure we have an Aqua Tail loaded for the Florges, or make sure that I'm able to, get to a move against it basically, or incinerate down or something. I just need to basically make sure that I'm not gonna have to take a loss here against the Florges just because I use my shield on something else. Like Florges, Moonblast, and Disarming Voice are gonna be the hardest hitting moves left in the game for me at this point, so I'm saving the shield for those essentially. So we're gonna be able to Aqua Tail this Florges, and they are gonna go down because they have 1 HP, but that's okay. We take the win there. That's gonna be a good game. Well played. And we're getting into the next game, the Veteran Clincher, and it's not a great lead. It's about the same as if I were to deal with, something like Snorlax, right? It's a normal type. They resist the damage, but I'm going to go ahead and swap on my 4th Incinerate. The reason why is because it takes 20 tackles to get to the high horsepower, and the opponent has Ice Punch. Makes sense. It's an Ursaluna. Would want to have Ice Punch for the dragons. The opponent has an Annihilape in the back here. I'm trying to farm up some extra energy here just to maybe fake like I have Draco Meteor, but I don't think I farmed up enough. The opponent decides not to respect it. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if you do have it, you very well might be able to steal some wins with it because nobody is respecting the amount of damage that Draco Meteor could do. Or they're just going to be like, you know what? I'm going to call the fact that he doesn't have it. And if you do have it, then boom, that's going to take them out. Shadow Ball is going to get thrown here. I'm going to come in with Primarina here to start getting some energy. The opponent only gets to a move here after a few. That means this is just a Night Slash and I can let it go. I did not farm up enough for that to be anything else. And the opponent having the Ursaluna here, knowing that they have Ice Punch and high horsepower, and they choose to come in with it. So they're going to build back up to the high horsepower, and I'm going to no-shield it. I'm going to just put my faith in Skeledirge for this game. The opponent goes for the Ice Punch bait, and at this point, they have decided to just quit, and I don't know why. I don't know what was in the back. Maybe it was something that didn't want to deal with Skeledirge, but hey, we take those, we're going to clap a 4-1, and we're going to be able to clinch Veteran with this set with that victory. Well played to the opponents in these games. Master League Premier, I think it's better than it used to be. It used to be a very RPS meta with like Gyarados, Dragonite, and then the Steels, right? Like, and then the Fairies. It was just a really nasty triangle, but I feel like there's a lot of picks now that kind of mitigate the RPS, especially Skeledirge being one of my favorites. But let me know in the comments if you guys are having any success in the Master Premier Cup, and hopefully the meta doesn't get degenerate or anything. But anyway, that's going to do it for me for today in this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.